Hey, hi, hello there, amateurs. Today we'll be talking about memes, or what memes are built from in Formula One. What is the definition of a good meme? What makes us laugh? What can we deduce from each personality on the grid? We'll be focusing on drivers that have had already a few seasons in them, so we will not be covering Kimi Antonelli, Oliver Behrman, Gabriel Bortoleto, Isaac Hadjar or Jack Doohan, but one day we probably will. But today we'll give you the content that we have been provided by the masters of the sport so far. Okay, so we are going to start in order of the championship standings. So we'll start off with McLaren and Lando Norris. His notorious subjects in terms of memes are little Lando Norris when he fell asleep during the Belgian Grand Prix, and because he is not the tallest, but certainly not the shortest of the drivers, but relatively short in comparison to all the other drivers, he has been known since he was 21 as Little Lando Norris, who hates fish. Anytime any fish is mentioned or is even near him, he feels disgusted. So don't bring any fish near him if you want to have a nice conversation, or just don't touch that subject with him. He is also the biggest best friends with Carlos Sainz, so much so that they have their own ship name of Carlando, and whenever they share a podium, especially when Lando won in Abu Dhabi with Carlos in second place, those are treasured moments. This is the second time they shared a podium together, and they hope to share more. And their friendship, since they were both in McLaren, has stood as just a promising spark in something that should otherwise be seen as a rivalry. They managed to grow into a beautiful friendship. And Lando's teammate is Oscar Piastri, who I reckon would be just a great assassin if he has to change careers at any point, but let's hope he doesn't, because he is just calm. He has a poker face. You cannot get any anger from him or anything. He is just permanently neutral on every single topic. I would say, is quietly determined as well. So there are memes now going around with the FIA bringing in a swearing ban, that he might win the drivers' championship because all of the other drivers will be banned because of swearing, but also he might win the championship just because he is such a good driver anyway. But not swearing and being so calm is also an advantage that he can use as well. And now Charles Leclerc, Ferrari. He has the least amount of luck of any driver in terms of team strategy. If Ferrari are not checking, they are ignoring, because they may be trying to give him an answer, but never in a timely manner. And team strategies are more like a whole list, a whole alphabet of strategies, and the driver is meant to remember every single one of them. And this has been a point of ridicule, mainly because of just how difficult Charles seems to find it in terms of trying to stay calm and happy when he is often let down by such an iconic team. And especially being a massive Ferrari fanboy who has always wanted to be in Ferrari, now that he's been there for so long, and he'll be there for at least 10 years total. He has his ups and downs with the team, but the whole dynamic between him and the team is very meme-worthy in that case. And then during the Las Vegas Grand Prix, he did accidentally have a rant that he didn't realise went out to the whole world that was watching, where he complained that he was too nice and he let his then teammate Carlos Sainz get away with things without complaining, and he wanted to sort of stand his ground, not realising that everyone can hear him rant. But we're not sure if anything actually came out of that apart from just him ranting about being too nice and being walked over. But also, he is known for an iconic phrase when he crashed in Azerbaijan. He crashed into a corner and continued promptly by saying, "I am stupid. I am stupid." And now every single time he does something silly or does something not so smart, "I am stupid" comes out. Whereas his new teammate, Lewis Hamilton, well, he is haunted by the idea of getting his 8th title, the first ever 8th for anybody. His chance was there in 2021. He's been trying to get back to the top. It hasn't been going well from 2022 onwards. Everyone hopes that Ferrari could maybe lift him up a bit, but he is haunted by the idea that he was so close yet so far. So there's an ongoing meme of like, will he, won't he? He is one of the oldest drivers on the grid, not the oldest, but second oldest, and many have been questioning how long he's going to go for. It looks like Ferrari might be his last team, but we never know. And we hope that he can go on for as long as he can, but people are saying, like, you know, when are you going to call it quits? When are you going to accept that at some point this has to end? And also, he is sort of known as a Formula One icon. If you mention Formula One to someone who doesn't know anything about Formula One or who takes part, you just say his name and everyone knows, oh yeah, now I know what you mean. He is the face of Formula One, has been for a very long time because of his ongoing successes, not so much because of his downfalls, but just his longevity, his previous successes, his rivalries. They have all accumulated for him to be just the face of Formula One as of recent. He is also a fashionista, a fashion icon. He always wears the most glamorous outfits, sometimes the most wackiest outfits, but he stands out. You know when Lewis is on the grid, when he comes in for the race, for the quali, for the FP1, for the FP2 and 3, because all eyes are on him and his outfits, and he slays. And now we go to Red Bull. Max Verstappen is sort of known in the meme culture as Dutch royalty because he is probably the most famous Dutch person out there apart from Van Gogh, but the most famous living person out there from the Netherlands. He has won so many races, especially in 2023 when he won 19 of the 23 races, that he is sort of haunted by his own national anthem, which has become a meme of its own. That sometimes, for example, when he didn't win for 10 races straight in 2024, people were asking, where is the Formula One intro or outro? Well, the Formula One intro is an iconic classical piece by Brian Tyler, and the outro in this case is the Dutch national anthem. He is also sort of known as a life snatcher, life ruiner, especially for Daniel Kvyat, who he took his seat in Red Bull, then he took his girlfriend, then he also became sort of the second dad to his girlfriend's daughter, and you barely actually see any pictures, probably maybe out of privacy, of Penelope, his stepdaughter, being near her dad. It's just her and Max all the time. And he has taken just every opportunity in Daniel Kvyat's life away from him, and you just got to feel sorry for the man sometimes, but also there are probably reasons why things happened, or maybe not. And then for someone who has won 4 world championships, and this may be a controversial opinion of mine, but he is very humble. Like, when he won his 4th title in Las Vegas, he just, instead of, celebrating in a way of, partying from the moment he knew he won, he got into the limo that took him to the hotel where the ceremony would take place to get his trophy. And he was just pointing out all the fun things in the car, like how to switch on the lights and, oh, what does this do? What does that do? He is just, in a way, humble because he doesn't care, but also in a little bit of a way, sort of like he's got a mind of a child in the way of like what you think of a winner in Formula One. You think, a serious person who takes so much pride and so much determination, but you don't think of them as having a little bit of fun. And I just think that's wonderful, that he can make something so serious seem so innocent and so just fun. Just fun. Sometimes that's all you need, is fun. But also, just as I mentioned with Daniel Kvyat and his whole life, he is a teammate destroyer. Ever since Daniel Ricciardo left Red Bull, every single teammate has been fired. They just haven't been good enough as a teammate for Max. That doesn't mean that they're meant to beat Max, but they are meant to prove themselves. They are meant to be the second best driver in the team's opinion in the entire standings. So whereas Sergio Perez was able to do that in 2023, he could not do that in 2024. Pierre Gasly was one of his teammates, who was replaced by Alex Albon, who was replaced by Sergio Perez, who was now replaced by Liam Lawson. And God, we can only hope and pray that Liam does well and succeeds, and he's not going to be another Verstappen victim. But only time will show. And now moving on to Liam. He is known for mainly being a massive fan of the Disney film Cars. Everything Cars. He just loves the film. He is Lightning McQueen personified. He lives the Lightning McQueen life, and he every single opportunity that the marketing team at Red Bull, or when he was in the junior team as well, anytime they could milk this love of cars, they do. He just turned 23. They got him a cars a cars card and just a cars present and everything. Like he lives his childhood dream through the likes of this film. But he also, in his pre-Formula 2 career, he was very close with Yuki Tsunoda, and then he was reunited with him when they were teammates last year. He got up to a load of antics where they would just not take this. Well, they would take the sport seriously, but they had the type of banter where they could sort of tone it down and, you know, have fun, but also be a little bit dangerous, be sort of on the verge of the rules, some may say. But he has a great friendship with Yuki, and we will move on to Yuki soon. And now the fourth would be Mercedes, and specifically George Russell, as Lewis Hamilton is now in Ferrari. So he is known for the T-pose in the 2023 intro when it's broadcasted on TV. So now he is sort of expected to do it every time that he does any sort of public related presentation. He has to do the T-pose. That is his pose, that is his iconography that goes along with him. But also he is sort of like the definition of the most stereotypical British man, like the sort of, you know, loyalist, royalist. You know, he's there wearing also, like, if you think of like Sherlock Holmes, he's that, but an F1 driver rather than a detective. He is just, the only thing that he lacks is the bad teeth. And he is also the definition of the term, well, actually, because he always has to prove people right. He has to be in the right. He has to have the last say. He has to stand his ground every single time. When in his rookie year, he was known for saying the word facts when he was presenting his reasoning as to why he should be the rookie of the year. He was throwing out all the facts, because that is what he is known for. He is the walking encyclopedia. He is the all-knowledgeable, which can get him into trouble with other drivers when they might think he's just taking things a bit too much. But also he is a total Toto Wolff fanboy, which is great when it comes to the fact that he is the team principal of Mercedes. But some people may think it's a bit too weird how obsessed he might be sometimes. But now that he's taken on the role of the leader of the team, he has to tone it down and be the big brother figure to Antonelli, so maybe they can sort of share the total love between them rather than just holding it to his chest by himself. And now we go on to Aston Martin and our beloved Rookie of the Year, who has won that award every single year since 2001. And that's Fernando Alonso. He is the oldest driver on the grid, being 43. He is sort of an oldie but a goldie, because you've got to love his determination, his love for the sport, the fact that he came back after taking some time out, the fact that he is still determined to win a third title. He was so close to getting it in 2012, and he is still determined to do this. He can be seen as sort of the person who should lead, and probably does lead, the Aston Martin team, because not much can be said for his teammate apart from he's just the son of the owner of the team. And whereas Fernando is also seen as a TikTok icon, he likes to have fun. He wants to show the fun side of Alonso. He's not all, oh, I have to win this title. He's got a fun side. He's sort of like the fun uncle you wish you had. He is just, he may be 43 on paper, but deep down, he's in his early 20s. He's still a rookie, and he'll always be a rookie, regardless of how old he is, regardless of how long he's been in the sport. He is the wonderful rookie who, when he wins a race, he pretends to be a bunny rabbit and brings out the bunny ears and dances on top of his car, and he just has fun. He knows how to turn anything into a meme and just know that he is the reason why we love him so much, and he just wants to give us more reasons to love him, if anything. And as I said, his teammate Lance Stroll, well, he's daddy's little boy, because Lawrence Stroll is the owner of Aston Martin, or as maybe he has the biggest share in the F1 team. But he's not that competent as a driver. Many would say that he's the least competent on the grid. Just look at Brazil last year, where he didn't take part in the race because he just threw it all away in the formation lap. He drove into a gravel trap when he had every single opportunity to drive out of where he slipped. He could easily get back on the road, but no, he decided to bury himself in gravel and then cause a whole commotion of a very stressful weekend that seems to never end. And this was just unbelievable how much he didn't try. He is also sometimes seen as the one with the most unfair advantage because his dad owns the team. He is sort of destined to be in that team for as long as his dad has the biggest impact on the team. So, every single time he re-signs his contract, nobody's surprised. If anything, like where else will he go? What team would want him now when he has proven himself to just... I don't know what to say. He's just not a good sportsman. Maybe take on a different sport. Some people have suggested getting him into the World Endurance Championship. Try that. But give someone else a go in the Aston Martin seat, because this Brazil will be the definition of why, Lance, why? Why? Just why? And he doesn't seem to have any consequences for his actions because he knows he's going to get away with it because, well, I'm rich. My dad owns the team. I can get away with anything, even murder, even getting stuck in a gravel trap. I have no consequence. I am God. And now, after this rant, I will continue to discuss how Pierre Gasly for Alpine is, well, he's he's an innuendo man. If he was a superhero, he'd be an innuendo man. He wouldn't save anybody, but he will make us laugh because he is just a French caricature of a lovable man who makes things inappropriate, makes them funny, and anyone who likes a bit of cheeky humour, a little bit of bants, Pierre's your man, especially if your name is Yuki Tsunoda, because they are just an iconic, troublesome power couple of drivers. When they were teammates, they would get up to so many antics, and it is just wonderful to see so much go on and them being so iconic, wanting to beat each other but also having fun while doing it and not really taking anything seriously, but also, having that sportsmanship but also having the banter and being able to balance it. And it's also just adorable to see. It's just adorable. And also Pierre, he's almost everybody's bestie. There's only one person who can say that they are not his best friend, and that's someone who he has been brought up with practically all of his life, and that's Esteban Ocon. They haven't gotten along with each other since they were about 8 years old, and they probably never will. But everyone else sees Pierre as their best friend, especially Yuki, especially Charles. He goes on holiday with Charles. He gets up to no good with Yuki. Yuki lives in Milan now because of Pierre, and he is just a man of friendship, a man of banter, a man of innuendo. And he is a French caricature of an icon. And now in 7th place is Haas, and that leads us on to Esteban Ocon. He is a dangerous man to have as a teammate, because regardless of who you are, he will hate your guts and he will try to kill you on the road, but then act all nicey afterwards. He, as a driver, has the mentality of it's my way or the highway, and sometimes it ends up with him crashing into people, but he just has that want in him to get more podiums. He did amazingly well alongside Pierre when they were teammates last year, as he got second place in Brazil, the iconic Brazil race, and that was the only time where we saw Ocon and Gasly get along with each other. But we have to appreciate and we have to respect the fact that he is now finally free from the chains of Alpine that have been bringing him down, because he just did not jive with that team, especially when they decided to bring his biggest enemy as a teammate. But not much similar can be said of Yuki Tsunoda, who is also a teammate destroyer, who has been underrated by Red Bull, and he is known for, when he started his career, being very sweary and not wanting to train and just being his own man. He still is his own man, but he has calmed down with the swearing. He's sort of a swearing ticking time bomb, so the whole swearing ban is very concerning when it comes to people like Yuki Tsunoda and Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton, Charles Leclerc, Lando Norris. Literally the only person that's innocent is Piastri at this point, and maybe the rookies. But he's iconic for just being just a walking definition of a meme, really. And I know I've said this quite a few times, but his number one dream in life, well, apart from winning a championship, is to own his own restaurant. Everyone else just, their number one goal in life is just to win a championship. Yuki has higher dreams. He has his life worked out. He loves food so much that he is willing to put his passion in place and one day own a restaurant. And honestly, we cannot wait to see the day when he does this. And as I said before, he is best friends with Pierre Gasly, and we hope that friendship lasts forever. And now, Williams, who are now headed with Carlos Sainz and Alex Albon. Carlos Sainz being the smooth operator, as he sings every single time he wins a race. He, as I've mentioned previously, he is best friends with Lando, Carlando, friendship. We ship this whole friendship, this brotherly love, this bromance. We just, every single time, they're just rays of sunshine. But also when he was teammates with Charles Leclerc, C squared, because they basically have the same name, just one has the Spanish version, one has the French version. That was also iconic. Their antics were publicly made on the Market Insider Ferrari on YouTube. You can see the C squared videos of them getting up to things from throwing aeroplanes out of windows to guessing films or locations, from emojis and screaming Madagascar when they finally worked it out. And he is now in a shipment of Carbono, which is Carlos and Albon, but Albon famously is nicknamed Albono by Charles Leclerc. So they are now Carbono. And this has been a very recent thing, ever since he's joined Williams, we haven't seen him smile. And we are very concerned. Carlos, are you okay, hon? Are you okay? Are they treating you well? We hope so. And now, Alex Albon, a Verstappen victim. He couldn't match Max's streak of wins, and therefore he lost his position. But he has sort of been a teammate destroyer himself ever since he's been in Williams. He was paired up with Nicholas Latifi. Nicholas Latifi sort of crashed out of his career in Formula One. Then he was with Logan Sargent. He crashed out of his career in Formula One. Arguably, when Franco Colapinto was his teammate, he didn't crash out of his career. It's just that by the time he joined, Carlos already had his seat booked in for this year. So he didn't destroy his career, but well, he's not in this. He's a reserve driver for Alpine now. Yeah, it's sad to see him go, but he had his ups and downs himself. And during the pandemic, we all remember the pandemic, or we try to forget the pandemic. He was known for doing many Twitch live streams with Lando, with Charles, and with George, playing loads of different games, especially Formula One games, where he would be constantly annoyed at George Russell and his antics, constantly getting in his way, and famously saying a lot of times, George. He just was not happy, but it was all in good faith. It was all in good fun. And now we go to the final man on this list, Nico Hülkenberg. The poor man has never been on a podium since he's joined Formula One in the early 2010s. We hope that it can come soon enough. He deserves it more than anybody. And he's determined, but he hasn't had any luck with being in the right team at the right time. And every time he changes teams, it's always when the team is not doing its best. He went from a team that went from 10th place to 7th place, aka Haas. And now he left Haas for Kick Sauber, who in the whole standing of last year got 4 points. We can hope that he will revive the team, but who knows? We believe in you, Nico. You can do it. But he was also known for really, at one point, hating Magnussen during one of the races when he was in Renault and Magnussen was in Haas. And then everything changed as soon as they became teammates, and now they're best mates. And it's just lovely to see them turn it around. But the iconic clips of them interacting after the race with words I will not repeat, they have managed to change it around, and it's just amazing to see. And yeah, that is all for today. We have covered all 15 drivers who have had a history in Formula One. One day, as I said, we'll hopefully cover the rookies and any antics they get up to, anything meme-worthy. They have a whole year to give us new content and hopefully future careers as well. Thank you for listening. Thank you for hearing me ramble. I will see you next Saturday. Have a lovely day. Bye.